I made an extremely annoying boss in Roblox Studio. It can do anything from turn your screen black to trick you and to even kick you from the game. And at the end of the video, I'm going to have a friend play against it. So if you want to see that, just watch the whole video. Step 1 of making the boss was to make the actual character itself. And for this, I just inserted a basic NPC, which I totally didn't take from Toolbox. Then I changed the color to be red because I thought it would show what the boss was like. And I also added a troll face to make the player a little more mad. This was the finished character, and I thought it looked fine. Next, I need to make the boss actually function. So I inserted a script into the boss and made it so that it had a phase system. This meant that the boss would have multiple stages that it went through, depending on what health it was at. Once it was finally built, it was time to work on the individual phases, starting with the first one. For the first phase, I wanted to start with something simple. I decided to have the boss shoot a shockwave out every few seconds. All I needed for this was just a red ball, and I needed to set it to deal a little bit of damage to the player when they touched it, and then set the ball to spawn every few seconds at the boss's position. It was pretty simple stuff, and it didn't take long to finish. Phase 2 would be a little more interesting. I decided to make the player's screen way darker. I did this by adding an item to the player's screen and setting it to be black, as well as a tiny bit transparent so the player can still see. I mean, look at this. You can't even see the boss. On top of that, the boss still has the shockwaves, so it's just a very annoying phase. Then it was on to phase 3. I wanted to add a trolling aspect to this boss battle, so I decided to make the player think that they beat the boss. Before I could do this, I needed a health bar system to actually display the health, so I added that in. Once the health bar was added, I programmed the boss to set the health bar display to 0, making the player think it was dead, and telling them to go to a white brick in the center of the map. Unfortunately, if the player falls for this, they will instantly die. Now it was time for the final phase, phase 4. This phase needed to be a great final phase, so I just thought about what the best way to troll a player was, and I came to the conclusion that it was kicking them. I made a copy of the shockwave, but I changed the script to kick the player from the game. I also made the boss spawn a lot more of these, and I mean a lot more. But you may be wondering, how will a player be able to damage this boss? Well, to make a way for the player to be able to damage it, I added these neon white bricks that spawn every minute. By surviving 1 minute and then stepping onto one of these bricks, the player would deal 25 damage to the boss, sending it to the next stage, or even killing it. So now, it was finally time to give the game a go. Here's my friend playing it. Phase 1 was an absolute breeze, and he barely took any damage. He was able to solo it and get to the next phase. Phase 2 was harder, since he wasn't able to see anything since his screen wasn't bright enough. I had to help him find the neon brick and get to the next phase. On phase 3, he fell for the trap once, but after that, he was fine. Phase 4 was a different story. At first, he tried to solo it, but he got kicked a ton. Eventually, I started helping him, but we couldn't survive. Here's me getting kicked, and another time I got kicked, and here's him getting kicked. But after what felt like an hour, we managed to get it done. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you have an idea for a video, suggest it in the comments, and bye.